everybody know that we're going to be on YouTube. So I'm going to keep you on with me until we get there. How about these solar winds? They're kicking my butt. All right, looks like we made it. Yes, we did. Okay, so let me mute that. All right, so go back over here, Zoom. Okay, oh, wait a minute. I need to get the link. Okay, so I'm going to put the link, copy, go to Facebook. All right. How's it going, everybody? Linka, Jennifer Ray is going to be on in about 20 minutes after this show's over. Okay, so Facebook's not letting us on again. Hello, Jane Moore. So I'm doing this live just to let you know that Michael and I are right there. Can you see us? We're on YouTube right now. Okay. And so I'm going to share this on my page. I'm going to put the link. All right. Soul Speaks 5D, Michael James Garber. And I'll put live now. All right. So let's get that straight. And then I'll send it over to SoulogyOneStudios page. Hello, Maria. Yeah, we're on YouTube again. That's okay. It's what the universe wants us to do. We got 19 people on this live. If you want to catch the show with Michael James Garber, it's starting right now. I'm just putting the links on the Soulogy group, the SoulogyOneStudios page, as well as on my page. Michael, do you want me to put it on your page?
Yeah, that'd be, even just share it with me on the messenger and then I can just put it on my page.
Okay.
That's easier. I don't know.
Here, let me see. I've already got it started. So G-A-R-B. Ooh, this is difficult. Okay, yeah, I'm sharing it to your page. So as long as I'm sharing it to your page. Okay, now here we go. Whew, I'm burning up. Okay, so let me just tell everybody again. Hayden, see you, Rose. How you doing? What did you say? On my way to YouTube. Okay, so anyone that wants to watch the show right now, that's happening right now on YouTube, there you see us right there. Michael James Garber and myself. We're going to start this now. We've already got Karen Wendt, Paul Castaneda, Ann McKeon, and Alinka Sandhu are in the YouTube audience. And if you go to YouTube and you're on a laptop or computer, the comments are here. And if you're on a phone, there's an icon right below the screen that says live chat, and you just click that. So I'm going to sign off with this. Terry Stacy ? We're on YouTube. The show, Facebook wouldn't let us broadcast the show, so we're on YouTube live right now. The link's on my page, Soulogy group page, Michael James Garber's page, and SoulogyOneStudios Facebook page. You can all go to those pages, get the link. We'll be on YouTube, and we're starting in about 2 minutes. See you in a minute. Thank you. Okay, so we got that done. Whew, man, it's hot. I am burning up. Okay, share. Okay, so now I'm going to get this off and go to YouTube. YouTube. So that way I can see the comments without having to go back and forth. Neil Devaney says, very clear channel Michael is. Yes, he is. We're going to ask him about a couple of things today. Okay. All right. MJG, that's what they call you. Yeah, we just had Maddie Schaefer. We were on YouTube. We had to go to YouTube. All right, let's see here. Okay, Michael's holding space. Okay, here we go. We got 21 people in the house. Hello, everybody. Hello, happy day. Alinka Sandhu, Neil Devaney, Maria Iverson, Ann McKeon, Paul Castaneda, Karen Wendt, Sophia Williams, Elizabeth D. Dominico. Good to see everybody. If these shows resonate with you, please share. And thank you for your continued love and support and contributions. They add up. They allow us to keep doing what we're doing every single day. And we're going to keep giving it hell. Morgan's downstairs loading up the schedule. So 3 or 4 shows a day. That's what the universe is telling us to do right now. We got a beautiful, beautiful divine brother with us today. Michael James Garber. A lot of you know him. As Neil said, he's a very clear channel. We're going to talk to him about some of his channels, his recent channels. because it's an important time right now. So welcome to the show, Michael. It's good to have you back on Soul Speaks 5D.
Thank you so much, brother. And I want to acknowledge you. 3 shows a day is quite an energy to hold. I know it takes a lot to hold that space and to coordinate and to promote. And I just want to thank you for your service that you're offering from your heart.
Very welcome. Morgan does all the coordinating. She has this, well, it's not a theory, it's the truth. She says you do good in front of a lot of people and you don't do good one-on-one. She does good one-on-one and she doesn't do good in front of a lot of people. So it's a good combination.
Perfect. Divine relationship at its best.
But it is a challenge sometimes. With some days we do 4 and 5, and but it's like every one I do is like being in a session, being the client in a session. I'm getting all these downloads. The last show I was getting bombarded. Plus these energies are coming down right now. Everyone's been talking about it. Pamela Johnson put out a post yesterday about the CMEs, and the solar winds and all that stuff. How you been doing?
Oh, wow. Pretty good. Yesterday was a really strong day. I basically do a task, whatever it might be, working with the client, and then I go and I lay down for half an hour or something like that, even if I don't fall asleep, just to really connect with myself and to be in that passive state so the energies can do what they need to do. And today, just as we were getting ready to start for this, my heart chakra really started to move. And so it's become so familiar at this point that I can't wait to experience what it's like when it
stays on. But I do the same thing you do, and I've done it for 3 or 4 shows. I'll do a show, I'll lay down, do a show, lay down, and you described it perfectly, because that's the only way I can reconnect. Sometimes I fall asleep like just a minute ago. But yeah, this energy is coming in, and it's sitting there. It used to come in and go, come in and go, come in and go, and now it's like sitting there and just sitting there, and it's powerful. It's powerful. I keep looking at Morgan and say, let's go have a session. You know what I mean?
It just seems to be that the baseline vibration has shifted to a point that it's whatever isn't in us is all that isn't matching that vibration is just going to be constantly asking to be cleared into so that we can shift higher. So it's no longer a month and then a month later. It's it's pretty constant now.
It's like every day. Every day. Yeah, it really is. Morgan says it takes 2 to 5 days for the body to integrate. And she's like, it's been 4 days since that shift you had. And I said, and then there was one from 3 days ago, and there's one from 2 days ago, and there's one from 1 day ago. So it just doesn't stop. Now you do videos, which we talked about last time, and a lot of people know you from that. But I saw one the other day that jumped out at me. Actually, I think I watched parts of 3 of them over about a week. And there was one the other day, and I think you were doing it on the 3 Days of Darkness. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Because that fascinates me.
I would love to.
Yeah.
So the 3 Days of Darkness has been a story that I grew up hearing in church. I was raised Methodist, so it was, and I was studying end times prophecy since I was 10, 11, 12 years old. I was reading and knowing that I would be there on the planet at the time when things were starting to shift. So that was the first time that it really came into my awareness, was as an adolescent. And then I didn't hear about it again for a long time until one of my first sessions where they were talking about, this is one of the first powerful sessions I had, where they talked about an eclipse that was going to merge multiple dimensions at one time during that eclipse. And then I heard about it a week later from another client who is a androgynous being who is with 2 humans, and they were afraid of this dark object that was getting ready to cross in front of the sun. And so he fed them light to help them awaken. And I asked what happened during the eclipse, and he said, we become light, we shed our skin. And he actually used the word rapture. And at that point, I had totally let go of that whole storyline of rapture. But then for it to come in such an esoteric, such a metaphysical, non-religious setting, I was like, oh, interesting. This client also, both of those clients that talked about this eclipse, both of them were able to go into such a deep trance that when I brought them up, they had no recollection of what was being shared. Now let's fast forward to just a couple weeks ago. This is very rare for my clients to go so deep. You know, everyone kind of fluctuates in and out of different levels of awareness during the hypnosis sessions. And then again, this client goes completely under and doesn't remember anything, is actually quite surprised by the information that comes through. All of them were. And again, during this session, there were some councils that wanted to tell me to start preparing people for 3 days of darkness. And as they were describing, there would be a spacecraft. We have been most people have been thinking of it as a planet, thinking about this big planet called Nibiru that would cross in front of the sun. And while it was in front of the sun, there would be a reprogramming of the sun. And then once they actually use the word transducing, so some type of transformation happening to the sun. And then once that moved, or maybe even during, I can't remember the details, but during that time, we would be going through thousands of years of transformation in 3 days. Wow. All of this being shared, letting us know not to be afraid of this. So this is actually something extremely positive. Everyone on the planet will be going through different experiences, but they were sharing it from their excitement and from their love, and really hoping that we would keep our vibration as a collective high enough for this timeline experience to happen. And how I see it is a graduation point or a time marker, that once we get to a certain vibration as a collective, we can move into that next phase. Now, if our vibration stays, not at, what did they use? Aggregate vibrational threshold was the terminology that they use. So our collective vibration, if we don't make it, if we don't hold that vibration, then there's, the next timeline they said would be in September, when the next possibility of that happening.
So when was the timeline they were referring to? Was it May or June?
June, like solstice time, within that window. And that's what I'm seeing overall with a lot of these activations and waves and pulses, whatever you want to call them, that come through. They line up with different astrological alignments as a way to amplify that energy as it comes in. It's like a filtering process.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel, and others are feeling, Morgan's talked about it, others are feeling like something's coming, like something's right upon us, like everything's going to flip, And then the other day, my dear friend TL from Sedona sent me this post that a friend of hers, mother to, I want to say about a 9-year-old, that the 9-year-old came to her. This is like a few days ago, and it started telling her, I'm Illyrian. Let me tell you what's happening. And tells her how the two suns are going to come together, and then the earth is going to flip on its, or break on its axis or something like that. And this was, they had some drawings.
And then there was
did you see that? Wasn't that fascinating, those drawings?
It's really fascinating for me because I'm always often, I'm often terrified to share the things that are coming through my sessions because they're prophetic, they're abstract, they're esoteric, really out there for a lot of people. But I learned from years ago when this information was coming through about the energy waves that I just have to share it. That's my responsibility. Share it, encourage everyone to stay in their heart, and that's the only thing I'm to do with it. And I think that's why I'm getting the information this way and not through channeling it myself, is so that it's really coming from another source, so I don't have my own self getting in the way. The same week, even the next day after that session happened, Pamela Erlin does a live talking about her dream that she had that night about 3 days of darkness. And in her dream, and as I'm sharing this, there's a lot of energy moving through my body. It's all vibrating. And so she was giving a talk, and another friend of hers, they were giving a talk about the responsibilities of sharing prophetic information. But also she felt like this was the first time since she's been receiving information like that, that she needed to actually share it. And
Yeah.
so for me, that was validation that I also needed to share this information. And then to get this 9-year-old girl
Yeah.
who's also having the same thing. And you know, as I've shared, more people have started to speak up. Same thing with this blue sun that's going to come behind our sun, that there's going to be some type of interaction between them. And I believe it's the Hopi. The Hopi talk about the blue star Kachina.
That's
and
right.
that at the time of, and as the blue star Kachina comes in, that would be the beginning, the emergence of that next world. So for me, I can see throughout all these cultures, and my hair is standing straight up on my body right now.
And I'm sweating like a dog.
They like it.
Yeah.
And I want to share also the just even after I've shared and I really got all of this energy out, there's also this part of me that I just want everyone to also keep their intelligence and their consciousness intact. As exciting as this is, you know, once the channel that I was getting consecutive information about this, and even speaking to Enki is one of the, you know, the prime leaders there within the Anunnaki. And he was really sharing that he wants everyone to know that they're coming back as allies. It's not the story of the old times. They're coming back to support us in our transformation. That's important that they wanted to share. But even after a few days of that, the next time that I went in, I had a list of questions. I was so excited. I want to get the Anunnaki, like what happened in the Anunnaki history between then and now that they're like coming back as allies. What's the difference, you know? And I asked, I went, is it appropriate to ask questions? And they said, this is a hard no. At this time, the information is closed. We feel that people are becoming more focused on the event and timing and less focused on the important part, which is alignment, because this energy is going to come through us. And we have to have our channel, our heart line, this line that connects us from source to Gaia, open and clear and ready to receive this information, because we're all here as these little lights all over the planet, ready to receive this information and allow it to come through. And so I want to really stress the importance of that even the information, because we all want it to happen. We want to party. We want to celebrate, you know, this big thing. And we also have to keep our consciousness intact. It's like falling in love. We can be excited about it, but we can still stay conscious.
Keep your head. Well, no, that's very true, though, because there's a lot of, you know, Project Bluebeam and mind control and you know, who knows what the capabilities are out there. They're far greater than we've ever been told formally. So you still have to discern at all levels, but there is this alignment that seems to be happening with people's stories. Like Victoria Lilliquist was on a couple of days ago. She's been communicating with Star Family since she was 5. And she had a communion last year that clearly stated June of this year, where she was pulled up on a Nordic spaceship. And she had a council with them, and they were, I believe, just Nordics. And they told her, we are here in unity with all the benevolent star families. You know, and then you have this 9-year-old, and then in little things like that, you know, this morning, you brought up the blue sun, right? This morning, I'm going through, I mean, I'm an Indian chief on top of a mountain, and I'm doing this rattling thing, and like something was coming, like, you know, I could see it. I was like welcoming it or beckoning it in, but there was a blue and a red, and they went like that. But all these little stories are adding up, you know, there's more and more people are talking about it. So I think that is a form of validation, I guess, or that we're on the right path. But I like what you say, because some people come out, and I'm not knocking them, because it is hard to kind of pinpoint linear time. But some people are coming out and saying there's going to be this event, there's going to be this flash, it's going to happen on this day, or it's going to happen on that day. And you're saying there's a timeline available in June, and there's a timeline of the next timeline will be available in September. That just seems to fit more to me. You know, that it's not this all or nothing kind of thing. You know, everybody's going, no one's getting left behind. That's what that type of prophecy tells me. Very cool.
What it also does for me is it encourages me to keep my vibration high. I can maintain my vibration. So that's a vote for yes, because I really want that event to happen. And I can do my part in going around to all of my other, you know, people that I come in contact with and be an uplifter. You know, that's my part as well, to help people connect with their heart, connect with love, let go of any old stories that they need to. because that's what's going to get us there. Wherever we might be going, whatever type of event that is happening, we really have to continue doing the work of going out and uplifting the people.
Yeah. And then you said too, like their hard no, the Anunnaki hard no was really putting the emphasis back on our own self-introspection, our own shadow clearing and open-mindedness and expansion, which is what you're saying is further clearing the channel. Yeah. That it really is the point. That really is the apocalypse definition, the unveiling.
The unveiling, yeah.
It is our own unveiling to ourselves. Finding the God. Goddess.
Within us. So cleverly hidden. It's the last place we'd probably look.
It's like the dog chasing its tail, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this emblem. I was researching some stuff on YouTube about the what do they call it, the snake, whatever, I don't remember, but that runs through a lot of these really dragons and snakes. And there was this one that really struck me, and it was a circle, and it was the snake eating its own tail. And I thought, oh my God, that's it. But it was some powerful emblem or symbol from ancient times, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see so many people stepping up now. So many people that have been quiet in the background, starting to really step up. We had a really cool show a couple of days ago. We got a schedule misunderstanding with the guests. So I said, look, let's just have an audience come in. So three people came in. One who'd been on before, Marianne Savino from New York City, a beautiful lady. And then one man and one woman came on who never really, I'd seen one of them do a video, I think with some music. The other one was very, very quiet. She was the last one to come on. And they, all of them did light language. All of them said, I got some light language coming. The one lady that came in, Lanier from Australia, she shared her story. She said, I got to tell you what happened a couple of days ago. I started seeing all the sacred geometry, and then I got these messages. And so it's nice to see that we're not all crazy, you know, thinking that, hey, is this just something I'm making up? Because how can that be?
Yeah, it's really important that people find their voice, find their unique essence that they came to share with the world. Because as we share, as we lift our voices, as we speak about our experiences, it changes everything. It lets people know, like you said, one, you're not crazy. It also inspires them to look within themselves to share their own experiences that they're having. And one of those things that's really important is this light language thing. Star language, star tongue, I've heard speaking in tongues, whatever people may call it. Human beings are unique on this planet in the sense that they're the only animal, from what was shared with me, that doesn't really have its own call. It doesn't have its own song that it sings. And this is really a time for us to really go in within ourselves to find our song and to share that. And the example that was given today in a session to start to activate that, because everyone has this ability. It's not just, you know, people that have reached a certain level of spiritual advancement. For me, what it is I'll give an example. So when I first started to speak light language or to start to play with it, it came from this desire to connect with my grandmother, who had been speaking in tongues, as she called it. And I wanted to connect with her, and I wanted to carry that ability, that gift on. And so I just started playing. At first, it was by myself. I just got really quiet, and I started toning, and I started to play with it, and I started to feel with it. And what I started to notice was that sometimes there were tones that I would make that would inspire greater love within myself, a feeling of relaxation. And as I would continue to just play with the sounds and play with the intonation, play with the volume, play with the pitch, I would start to get into this trance-like state. And while I was in that state, just vibe, you know, the sound itself is super healing as it moves up and down through your central channel, out through your body. But then once I would get into that state, as a hypnotist, I see my clients going to this place. When we can get our brainwaves to slow down, we're able to access a lot more information. So even just sitting in private, even if you're not sharing your voice with somebody else, if you're just sitting in private, in your private prayer time, meditation, ritual time, and just start toning, just start welcoming the sound in, and just through the intention of connecting to it, the bridge is established. And you'll feel your way, just like anything else in your life, you'll feel your way into the sounds that really ring the bell of your soul,
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah.
That's my suggestion.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I stumbled across it myself, probably would have been, about 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, and I was in the 3D world, family and all that. And so I would come home at lunch, and I was following intuition, but I would come home at lunch, and I had this little hallway where I could close the door to the lounge, the door to the bedrooms. It was totally dark, and I would sit in there, and I started chanting this vowel-oriented chant, forward and backward, forward and backward. And in that time, I manifested some incredible stuff within that youth. And then more recently, it started like late last year when I was in Sedona, but more recently, it's been happening to me. It's been coming to me, right? And I'm laying in bed, trying to be quiet and doing it. But you know what it reminds me of is whenever you get you have an interface and you want to make music, you put on these headphones and you have a mic. You can put the music on and you hear the music like you're listening to a stereo, and then you hear the resonance of your voice with the music, and you can kind of play with it, right? Whether you're speaking or singing or rapping or whatever. But that's what it reminds me of. Without the mic and without the speakers the headphones on my head, I can actually hear it. It happened to me yesterday, and it felt like it was coming from below my solar, above my sacral. I could feel it. Like when the vibration was coming out of my throat, I could feel it actually vibrating from that point all the way up. It was a little bit freaky. It was a little bit freaky, to be honest with you.
It is freaky because it's so foreign to us. We've been so deeply programmed that we're just bones and meat.
Yeah.
It's so deep in there. Even if we've done a bunch of spiritual work, it's so programmed into us, and we've just never experienced it in this body. And that's what's really exciting for me, is as we continue to experiment with sound healing, with vibrational medicine, with energy healing, as we deepen our meditation practices, get into our bodies, get them sweaty and ecstatic, we're going to experience so much of this body and what it's able to do beyond the physical. We have energy structures that exist all around us that we can start to tap into that are going to come online. I'm really, really excited about it.
Yeah, another thing I like about the energy that you carry, both of you, is that you don't have an attachment to the voices or the faces of the universe or your lineage in the universe. You're really focused on Michael. You're really focused on the divine being that you are. All respect, honor, and love to everything that speaks to us, but it really is about Michael. It's really about Todd. It's really about this moment that we all share together. And we are, like I always say, the human is the hero. And there's power in numbers, and that's what's really, to me, ramping up now. Because you're seeing so many people step up. I mean, these last few shows, the last few days have been incredible. The comments and the energy of the people, it's so positive. There's no storytelling. It's just like, hey, this is really going down,
Yeah. And each of us are so stellar. We're so massive. We carry incredible amounts of information from so many lifetimes in different realms. And I remember in a session I was speaking with Yeshua Ben Joseph, was being channeled through a client, and I was asking, I was raised in a Methodist church and a Methodist family around a bunch of different types of that particular vibration of Christianity, and I was like, how do I help them? How do I help them to tune into this information? And what he said was so loving, as all this information is. He said, they're so close. They're so close. The thing that's going to shift everything for them is that they realize that God is within them. Yeah. God is not outside of them. God is within. And this is why, his teachings were so outrageous and needed to be, silenced by the powers that were at that time, because he was letting everybody know, you hold the key. No one else holds it, and that's what I really love is watching everyone come into their own goddess light, and to stand. As someone was speaking to me the other day about being humble. And it seems like that for me, that's not the archetype that we're stepping into all the time. We're stepping into this pharaoh, into this priestess energy, into this very powerful star being energy. that's really, really needed because we have been condensed and whittled down for so long. Not saying that the quality of humbleness isn't important. That's certainly important. But that has to also be supporting this incredible energy that our soul is. So that we can, because most people, as I go out into, the regular world, most people are drawn to my presence. And I used to hide it a lot. I used to get really weird because I wanted to hide from everybody. But what I'm noticing is that most people haven't seen truly empowered, authentically empowered people. It's a new thing here on the planet to see, to see people in their power, in their alignment, running this energy. This is like, wow. And so the more of us that do it, and to walk around, and it may seem strange at first to walk around really open-hearted, really alive and engaged in your environment and spreading so much love, but it's really so needed. And at this time, the witch trials are over, the burnings are over. It's time for us to really stand in our magical embodiment.
Yeah, I love what you say too about that humility factor, right? I mean, it's almost like we had a programming of over humility. Oh, you can't put yourself first. I remember when I woke up 7 or 8 years ago and I was in communion, with the universal on the streets, and everything I had done in my life had been about love, for love, but the conditioning of human love, not the labels and the roles and all that. And I remember because I commune a lot with Jesus, right? And he was like, one day, I'm homeless, walking the streets and just working this stuff out. And then he says, you don't have to suffer anymore. I said, what? What do you mean? You're the one that set the bar up. And he said, no, you don't have to do that anymore. This is a different time. This is a time, that's gone. You don't have to do that anymore. And I'm like, okay. That was a big wake up call for me. But I think that, we're writing a new template.
Yeah.
We're taking something given to us and we're expanding it. And that's the beautiful part of it. And I think to your other point about how stellar we are, we could understand how the angels and the archangels and the star family and the divine essences and the elementals and how they look at us. I mean, we're actually doing something that is freaking amazing, incredible. And it's been, like you said, the war's over. The witch hunts are over now. So it's exciting. And a lot of people are feeling it right now.
Something that really shifted for me was the perspective that, we are them. We are the avatars that they're going to be coming through. And as I work upward through that horror line, as I connect with my energies upward, especially when I go to do lives like this, I'm sure you probably have a similar experience. Once we go live, this energy comes in and it wants to express and it wants to share. And that's our angelic self. That's our, star tribe self. That's our bird tribe self coming through. And if we can release that identity that we're a person in a body, and that's it. This is a big microphone. This is a huge microphone that we can allow the greater part of what we are to express through. And so what would it be like to walk around as an angel in a body? What would it be like to walk around this planet as a goddess in form? Not that Isis is something far away. If we go up high enough within our soul lineage, we're Isis. If we go up high enough, we are Michael, we are Raphael, we are, whatever archetype that we're looking for, and we can embody that and call it in. Yeah,
that's right. Without and that's the thing I'm saying, without that attachment. I'm starting to see that, where you had, and all of us went there, we started connecting and, oh my God, I'm talking to Jesus, and I'm talking to Michael, and spirit guides. And then they became embodied. But you're right. It's like we have full reign over all that's available. And we can tap into any of it because it's all us. Which I know that sounded cliche and new age and all that, but we're actually experiencing that. I think the big word that I've learned, especially hanging around Morgan, and I hear more and more people talking about it, is embodiment.
Yeah.
The last show Maddie Schaefer was on, she said, it's actually, knowing it's all great, but it's actually being it.
Yeah.
Being it. When we're being it, that's what you're talking about. That's when that angel's walking down the street and holding that light, sustaining it.
Yeah. And that brings up a good point to speak about, because we can fill ourselves with so much spiritual information. We can fill ourselves with, you know, all the things. What's really important is that we do our practices to be embodied, to call energy in, to meditate. And everyone has their different ways of doing it, but that's super, super important. And probably more important than spending all of our time on the internet talking to all of our people, because we want that connection and we're excited. But it's a little bit like a crack addiction. You know, we get that little hit and then we need another one.
The crutch.
What's really going to give the crutch? What's really going to give us that sustained pleasure and even higher ecstatic states is if we do more practices. And I'm saying that knowing that I could be doing so much more. That I could be, you know, I could get on my mat, I could do my yoga practice, I could dance more, I could meditate more. And that's really what's going to give us the pleasure is really getting into our practices more and more and more to get these bodies ready, because the energy that's coming is going to be quite powerful. And we
it already is. It's going to get worse. What do you mean? Do we need to eat our Wheaties? I mean, what do we need to do here?
Yeah, what do we need to do? Well, the thing is, I feel like the waves that we've been getting have been like, you know, a couple years of advancement in a couple days. Like we can move through a bunch of blockages in a couple days. They're saying thousands of years of development in 3 days. To me, that's like really saturated light, like lots of information coming in. And so it's really important that we do the cleansing processes, fix the diet, look at our blockages within our energy system, because once this comes through, it's going to be quite powerful. And it will be most comfortable probably for those who have been really refining their instrument.
Some of the stuff I've read and heard about it over the years, and most of this I would say is I've picked up from people's own communion or channelings, downloads, talks about when this happens, it's going to, some people are going to be almost adversely affected, almost go crazy and stuff like that. And then also on the second part, where I guess during and after this period, many of us are going to be, as Morgan says, put to work. You know, like in other words, we're going to be there to facilitate the transition for these that maybe were not as clear in their channels.
Well, what's happening there, because we all have, before we came in, is we all agreed, we had different contracts, different soul contracts, like, you know, I need to work on this, this, and this, and I need to be, you know, working with this group and this person. So what's happening right now is everyone's finishing up their soul contracts with their karmic work that they need to do. And some people will need to stay, you know, quote unquote, asleep all the way up until this thing that happens. And so their bodies aren't really going through the changes as, like, I would say, maybe not though.
So they're not getting all the psoriasis and chafing and all that stuff, and the hair is going gray.
It's going to come really quickly, I think. Your hair is getting beautifully silver.
Silver.
And so, like, I had clients that saw the healing temples, the healing domes, and saw people coming out of the forest that were in all kinds of conditions, coming from different parts of the world, that were able to see these pillars of light coming out of where the healing temples will be. And when we're all going to start organizing those things, and probably relatively soon. But people were coming in all kinds of conditions with their bodies, because they knew that at these healing temples, light workers were able to do rapid healing with their hands, with light coming out of their hands, and also different extraterrestrial technologies that we had been given, that were able to rapidly transform the cells and the DNA. So I do think all of this work that we've been doing, we've been going through our clearing and healing process as research, because pretty soon a lot of people are going to need a lot of help and a lot of clearance. And so that's why people are studying herbalism, studying yoga, studying, you know, all the different things, because we're going to need it all.
Yeah. You know, I wanted to ask you something, because I know you and your partner have a very, very tight divine connection. About 10 days ago, Morgan and I went through about 4 to 5 days. That started one night. After that morning, I woke up and something was off. You know, I said, something's got to, you know, we figured it out. And I met some fears of intimacy or such, you know, at a human level.
Yeah.
Anyway, that night we had physical helioscomas. We had physical and non-physical integrated. It lasted about 4 hours. We had a couple more episodes after that, but it was absolutely mind-blowing. Looked very little like 3D sex. There was with each one of them that happened, expanded awareness, obviously, a clearer communication, an expansion of the higher senses and even the physical senses. Yeah, I guess my question is, have you guys experienced helioscomas and or have you seen a change in what we would call sexual energy in your relationship?
You're talking to my Scorpio spirit right now.
I'm Sagittarius, so I'm right there with you.
Oh, yeah. And I just got to talk about that on an earlier video today. So what I'm noticing I'm noticing a few things. Ron and I, when we first met, our first time of being intimate together, right away, there was a powerful activation that happened for us that I'd never experienced with anybody before. And our lovemaking is pretty energetic and really beautiful. And what I'm noticing is our connections getting deeper. For myself, the increase in pleasure, the duration is extending, just the wow factor of being in that connection has certainly increased. Yeah. What I'm also noticing is my heart is expanding, and I'm able to feel more connected to more people. Now, that doesn't mean I'm having sex with more people. It means that my energy is merging. I'm feeling drawn to more people in a heart-centered way. Yeah. And in a way that at first is kind of confusing, because it's like, what do I do? What do I do with that? I feel like I'm just falling in love for this person or with these people. And so what I'm seeing and even in the relationships that people are having around me is that people are really starting to awaken to a higher level of sexual expression, a higher level of connection and intimacy with other people. And I'm actually seeing the intercourse part kind of become less of the focus and more about this magnetism that's happening between people, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking you were going to say. I was framing the question because
it's so exciting. I think it's so exciting because people are starting to liberate their bodies and allow themselves to experience pleasure in so many different ways, in so many different forms, and so many different levels. And I think it's really exciting. What's also happening is that's giving us an opportunity to communicate what we're okay with, what we're not okay with, what turns us on, what turns us off. And what I'm seeing is people getting so much more playful with each other. And it's really cool. What a client was talking about, she knows that, her highest expression looks much more, I don't want to use the polyamorous word because it kind of makes a certain idea for certain people, but much more open. But she's at a point where she's in a committed relationship, monogamous relationship with somebody, but she knows that the potential is there. And so what her higher self was just guiding her is just to follow her heart. She doesn't need to rush anything. She doesn't need to push anything. It's going to happen seamlessly across the whole planet as we come together and just start to experiment and kind of push our boundaries and push our edges a little bit and actually get really excited when we notice a trigger or a restriction or some idea that we want to possess or control it. That we can actually use that as an edge to push up against so that we can expand. Yeah.
Like a signal.
Yeah.
A signal to elevate. Yeah. And and one thing I wonder about too, because, in the chair that I sit in and talking to different people is because, like you were saying, that when you sit down in front of the camera, something does happen. I mean, like I could be asleep like I was before the show. And then it comes on, I'm in. But the other thing that happens is the multiple multi-aspects of the person I'm talking to come in, and there's a lot of chatter, a lot of stuff coming in, and so I see, I guess, in a way, at a higher level, different templates. So it's like I know everything goes back to the one, but there's something about there's different templates. That this is just what I got. I'm not saying it's gospel, but like there's different templates. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that say, for instance, a polyamorous would work, a
Mm-hmm.
monogamous would work. You know, all these different ones. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
there's some type of symmetry to it. Even a single person, a person who chooses to be celibate. I don't
Relevant.
know.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, so it's interesting to see this unfolding. But there does seem to be a wider and wider acceptance. I did
Mm-hmm.
some early soul speak writing, poetry to words 5-6 years ago when I came off the street, and I still put them up, and they're very much, you know, all sexual preferences, all genders, all religions, all
Yeah.
races, all that type of thing. And people used to have a problem with it in light worker circles. I used to get these comments. Now I put them up when they come up in the memories. This you wrote this 6 years ago, and you know, and people they're jumping all over it. They're you can see their minds are opening, and I think that's a great sign for us all.
It's
And
really
it's
good.
yeah,
Well, the other thing that's really important about the sex thing is that if you want to accelerate your ascension, having divine connection, divine intimacy, divine sex, sacred sex is going to get you there a
yeah,
lot faster. What you read in what I read in the Magdalene manuscript, great book. It's a channeled text from Mary Magdalene talking about her relationship with Yeshua, and then the second part of that book describes different Egyptian high alchemy practices, tantric practices to begin to work with energy. And what they're saying in this book is that their ascension practices in Egypt, they kind of had two schools. One was practices that you would do with yourself. That was the school of Horus. But within the school of Isis, within the temples of Isis, they worked in partnership or
yeah,
maybe even with groups. Because what happens when bodies are touching and playing with each other is the light body, or the Ka body as they call it, immediately turns on,
yeah,
immediately begins to vibrate. And so what I really encourage people to do if you're in a relationship or if you're wanting to connect with others is to find some really basic tools, some really basic, with Magdalene manuscript is a really good one, to start to take your sexual expression to another level and use it as a tool for spiritual advancement.
yeah,
Because and I think that's why the powers that have been in control for so long have shamed the body and shamed sexuality, because it is a very powerful and
yeah.
very rapid gateway into the higher realms.
It is the way, and that's why they distorted it, you know, with porn and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the programming ran deep. I know what you're saying. I mean, it's
Yep.
like I said earlier. After these experiences that we've had, you don't even have to look for it. That's what I tell Morgan. It's like, oh, this is our job. This is what we get to. I'm like, I'm all for it, you know.
It's like a
But what
nuclear bomb of light.
right? But what? Yeah, cause like the first night, because I already talked about this. We're gonna do a show. We're gonna talk about it. We've just been waiting for the right time. But so the first night, it went on for like 3 hours, and it seemed
Wow.
like 20 minutes, right? So then we're laying on the bed and looking up, and the walls disappeared, the ceiling disappeared, the floor disappeared, and we're sitting in the middle of the cosmos. Starships are going by, messages are coming in, and part of that message was that you just expanded, so therefore everything expands with you. So it's right along the lines of what you're saying.
Wow.
The intel is exactly like that. So it's like,
Well,
you know, what book do I need to read? What lecture do I need to listen to? What video do I need to watch? No, just
be together.
be together, and it will come to you. Like how
Yep.
how how much better could it get than that? Right?
Thank you for doing that.
Right?
Maybe that was the energy shift that we felt the other day.
Oh my God! Don't get me
Sweet.
started, man. And so,
Sweet.
and the other thing that happens with that energy, I don't know if this is how it's happened with y'all. It comes in. And they even told us, you know, she's the transmitter. She gets most of this, and I just listen and see it. But I remember them telling she was channeling after one of these experiences, and it was like it. I think what they said was that the Kundalini energy has come and gone, come and gone, come and gone, and now it's this practice or this method or this experience. It stays,
It's sustaining.
and it's sitting there, and like I'm experiencing that right now, and I have been for about 2 weeks, but I can't even look at her. I'm like, I can't look at you right now.
It gets the light body moving. That's good.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, it's so sweet.
I can't.
You guys are blessed to have one another.
Yeah, we are, as you are. You know, I'm excited to talk about it because I don't know how much we'll talk about it, but I do feel, we both feel and kind of know that it's something that needs to be talked about. That's why I was, I was wondering, what
Yeah.
your perspective was.
Yeah,
So
and I also want to just one more thing before you say, I also want to speak to it because I know that in partnership, it's not just, and this is also for everyone who's probably listening, while these experiences are happening, we're also doing really deep shadow work with each other. It's not just the expanded, cosmic stuff. It's like really deep, ancient stuff that we're also working through. It's the full spectrum. And so that's the other part. If you're looking for divine union, it's work. You're meeting your mirror. Yeah,
Here, here.
it's not just unicorns and spaceships.
That's right. I'll second that. I'll second that one.
Yeah.
I would, yeah, I absolutely. That's an absolute truth. And I know in our situation, we've done a lot of that. Most of it was, I mean, she did a lot of work for 20 years. She's a priestess. I mean,
Yeah.
I know she doesn't like labels, but so a lot of that shadow had to come out of me. But once I stopped resisting and really started to put it into motion, it has gotten easier. And when things pop up, but it's still work. You can't take your eye off the ball. But when things pop up, we're able to kind of go through it impersonally, without taking it personal. And it is work. It is expansion. And like you said earlier, that's the signal. The trigger is the signal to expand.
Yeah.
Or she says that the magic is in the shadows.
Yeah. It was explained to me once, it's like those dark pods, those dark seeds are within it. It's like a zip file of light. If we can work through, if we can dissolve just that little bit of that dark shell on the outside, what we find within it is incredible light and information.
Yeah.
And so instead of running from our shadow, we need to nurture, just like those seeds. When we sow the seeds onto the ground, we have to warm the seeds up a little bit for the life to burst from it. And so when we have those shadow seeds, we need to spend some time, bring our warmth, bring our love to warm those shadowy parts so that we can have life burst through us. Yeah.
Which is what we are. Right?
Yeah.
That's the other thing I find interesting too. We've spent all this time chasing our tail. We found it. And then the other thing is, what is the meaning of life? It's living. It's life itself. It's like right here. So I don't know if there's anything you want to do before we go. If you want to channel, if you want to do a blessing, if you want to just if you got some more commentary, and also before you decide or after, just so for those who don't know you, or those who see this on the replay, how can they find you, and what type of session work, what type of services do you offer?
Okay. Well, good. Maybe the first thing that I'll have us do is everyone can bring one hand onto their heart and the other hand onto their womb, onto their low abdomen. A lot of information came through today, not only through us as we shared, but everyone received their own guidance, their own insight, as many beings worked with us today. So just take a long, deep breath and feel that central channel, feel that bridge that connects you to your source through your crown. Feel that flow of energy come down, 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 all the way into Gaia. We can all take a few moments just to breathe that energy in and just to feel that connection to the Hara line, to this pillar of light. This is where all of your answers are. They're in this alignment. They're in this connection to your intuitive feeling in the belly, to your expansive feeling in the heart, through this pillar of light that connects you to this planet and to your source. Breathing into it. In the practice of staying here in this alignment, in this connection. And as we stay here in this alignment, so much of what we want is magnetized to us. We don't have to step out of our alignment to control it or to force it to come to us. We can stand here as pillars of light. maturing avatars of high consciousness. And just open your energies. I'll do a little light language just to welcome in some transformation for you. Open your energies. Me te kamushira putukushira heti la hoto shinamaki na hine asalavato to shinamai. Me and tam the kai shinapati la sotukushina mahiti ashanamataeti shinamataki on dotsa shirapataina. Ooh, hi, hi. Ooh, why, ooh, hi, ooh, as we begin to remember our song, as we remember our own unique rhythm and pattern, may we merge with ease and grace with the highest light as we stand as lanterns during this time of transformation. Open your hearts and walk on this planet as noble beings of light as you remember all that you are. Yashanam hamwete shitakaya nemesiato mwate shindakaya mahante. Thank you all. What's really exciting for me to share, besides the hypnosis sessions that we're doing, the mentorship programs that I do for anyone who's really wanting to deepen their practice, or for people that are working as healers, as facilitators, as coaches. I really love to do mentorship programs with these people so that I can affect even more people. What's exciting for Ron and I that we're sharing here at the Lighthouse is on the 15th, 16th, and 17th of June, we're going to have a Quantum Healers Immersion. And what that means is we want to share all of the tools that we use in our practices, whether we're doing the hypnosis sessions, or whether I'm meeting with somebody for a coaching, or when I'm doing a hands-on healing session. We want to share as much information as we can with people that are already working with people and transformational practices, so that you can have more tools, other resources to pull from, but also a nice gathering of people that you can network with to be a support system to also share within with each other, so that we can take our practices that we're already doing, our services that we're already offering, and bring them up. You don't have to be a QHHT or BQH practitioner, although people that are certified in those types of work, those types of multidimensional work, this would be a really great experience for you, because our practices have evolved from the sessions that we've been doing. But also those who are laying of hands, this is a really great thing. We're going to be working with, how to meet a client face-to-face or on the computer and really connect with them and ask the right questions to get them even deeper into their awareness to help them open up. We're going to be doing energy attunements and some hands-on healing practice. We're going to describe and share our information of our process, what we go through in our quantum healing sessions, and just give our little tips and tricks. So that's 15th, 16th, and 17th here in Ashland. Ashland is an incredibly high vibrational community. There's lots of people here doing the work. There's lots of yummy farm-to-table food here for people to have a nice little retreat for themselves to go out and eat. There's a hot springs here that's really sweet, and there's even clothing optional times for those of you who like to share your body with the air. And then on the 21st, we're going to do something on Shasta for the solstice. So we recommend people finding a place to stay in the Shasta region on the 20th, and then come to meet us on the 21st in the morning at 7:30 a.m. We're going to post a location for people to gather. We're going to be facilitating different experiences, different ceremonial experiences, different types of connection and land-based ceremonies, so that we can call in this beautiful energy during this really powerful gateway and be together in celebration. That one, we have a suggested donation of 111. And I believe the Quantum Healers Immersion that's happening for those 3 days is early bird price is $444. You can get all of that information by emailing us at love@thelighthouseashland.com, and we'll share all the information with you. And that's a really great way to just get in contact with us in general. If you're wanting to learn more about what we're doing here, what we're creating, and just share your love, we're really open to that. So those are the things I'm really excited that are new to share.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. I'd love to catch up with you around that time. I bet it's going to be an exciting time.
Yeah, I've got sessions like every day up until solstice, so I've got lots of information coming through. I've got a huge notebook full of stuff, so
fantastic.
Be happy to share more with you. Yeah.
Well, best to you and yours. Thank you for the blessing, meditation, the channeling, and for spending this time with us.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. Until we're on high. You
I
take
will.
care.
Sending you so much love.
All right. You take care.
Give your beloved a good squeeze.
I will.
Love you.
I love you too.